Welcome to Seeking Alpha, the podcast where we're diving deep into crypto, careers, and the chaos of modern dating. I'm Larissa Bunziak.
And I'm Lindsay Poss. Together, we're two women who somehow found themselves at the intersection of crypto Twitter, Silicon Valley, and Tinder. What are we getting into today?
We are getting into the basics of blockchain. Welcome to blockchain, bitches.
Larissa insisted on adding the bitches part. So we are going to go through kind of some of the foundational technology terms that we use in the blockchain and crypto space for those who are newer to it. And then we're going to look at a bunch of different layer ones, and we're going to choose swipe left, oh God, no, or swipe right. All right, maybe. We'll see. So to start us off, Larissa, what is a blockchain?
Okay, so a blockchain is a digital ledger, and it is immutable, transparent, which means that everybody can see it. So to put it in relatable terms, let's think of a list of your body count. And the blockchain is holding this list, so you cannot undo what you've done, even if it was a mistake or you regret it. So bodies, in this sense, are transactions, which in some cases, for some people, is an accurate comparison. But a blockchain is really like a list of everybody's body count. And it's public, which is a fucking horror. But also, it's pseudonymous, which means that your name is not attached to it. It is a fake name. And so the reason that this exists is, I mean, just like think of all the fucking shady shit that's happened in the financial industry in the past, and like unscrupulous traders and bank managers and things like that, and all the fucked up shit that they've done with people's money. I mean, just think of like the most recent financial crisis. It makes all the sense in the world for transactions that happen to be recorded and undoable, and to an extent public, so that you can trace back to any illicit transactions.
I also want to add on here that in addition to the transparent nature, which is actually extremely useful in like seeing where money goes, it's also a lot more secure. So blockchains, because they're distributed ledgers, they're not single point ledgers the way a lot of data is stored now. They're distributed across an entire network of nodes and validators, and the technical terms aren't that important. But basically, think of a normal database as one that's stored in one place on servers that a company controls. So like Facebook's data is all stored on Facebook's centralized servers. Well, if that server gets hacked, all that data can be breached. And so the way the blockchain works is it's actually distributed across a wide variety of nodes, and it is actually a lot more immune to different hacks and being able to get into it. So in addition to the transparency, like the way the data is stored is actually really critical to me. So you can never hack in and change the body count.
Most importantly. And
yes, in this awful analogy.
Also, such is life. Such is life.
Such is life. Yeah. So from blockchains, we have cryptocurrencies. And the currencies, and that's probably the word that a lot of people are already familiar with. We don't hear blockchain as much as we hear crypto or cryptocurrencies. The currency is actually a form of payment to basically fund the transactions or to account for the transactions that you're talking about. It's built on top of the blockchain. So it's a way of like storing and tracking and sending things the same way we use regular money, but it's just done digitally on this database rather than on the networks that we use for our normal money.
Okay, so another term that's really popular is market cap, and that means the total valuation of the network, so how much money is into it. And now we are going to talk about the 5 biggest coins by market cap.
Yes, so just so I'm clear, it's the 5 biggest coins by amount of money that is into it.
Right.
Yes, okay. You want to start with your favorite, the
Sure.
love of your life?
It is
the one you'll go to war for?
It is the love of my life, and I would go to war for it. Thank you, Lindsay.
Christ.
So Bitcoin is a good store of value. It is like digital gold, except better because you don't need to worry about losing it. And there is a finite value of it. So there's only so many Bitcoin that are ever going to be created. And when people talk about currency, they don't necessarily talk about gold. But gold has obviously a certain amount of value that's traded. And so it's very similar to that. And that's why the digital gold comparison works so well. And maybe we'll talk about the more technical aspects of Bitcoin another time, but it is the OG. It was the first cryptocurrency ever created. And much of the purpose of crypto when it comes to operating as a currency comes from the Bitcoin white paper, which is a paper that the anonymous founder of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, wrote about it. And that's what kicked off this whole fun as fuck industry.
Yeah, I want to get into kind of the pros and cons about it a little, but I want to point out that the finite supply is a really unique kind of way, or a really unique function of it, I guess I should say. So there will only be a total of 21 million, right?
21 million.
Yeah, there'll only be a total of 21 million Bitcoin ever, which means that we kind of know how much is out there. And actually, I think it's something like 12 or 14 million are already kind of lost, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And so the value of a single Bitcoin is going to drastically change. But what that means is fractional pieces of Bitcoin become a lot more important as time goes on. And so I think that there is, some concern about there's only 21 million ever. 2/3 of them are already lost. Like, what do we do with the remaining third that make it kind of a longer lasting store of value? And the real thing is that we just keep fractionalizing it into smaller and smaller pieces until it actually reaches a kind of stable point. But how do you deal with the volatility of the price of Bitcoin?
Never sell.
Never
sell. Just the lows are there, obviously, but just forget you have it and come back to it in years and years. And that will be your wealth for the rest of your life.
It is the highest performing asset by far.
Ever.
Yes, ever. And I mean, the returns on it, especially if you invested early, which given that it's it's just over 10 years old now, it's still pretty early, which again, this is not investment advice. But I want to talk about kind of the pros and cons of it, because as you mentioned, or mostly the cons, I guess, as you've mentioned, the big pro is that it is seen as a store of value. It is the first one. It has been around for a long time. There is definitely a deep amount of respect in the currency itself. I want to point out for the people out there that our currency now, US dollars, are called fiat currency, which means faith-based. So essentially, when the government removed the gold standard from dollars, it turned currency from something that was worth a bit of gold, which is a precious commodity that we all agree has value, into a faith-based system where like the physical dollar is actually worth nothing. Like the physical dollar used to be worth a portion of gold and now it's worth nothing. So our currency now is faith-based. So when people say like, how do you believe in cryptocurrencies? It's like, how do you believe in money? Like, yeah, it's all faith-based. So I don't want to kind of debate the merits of like, is this the way currency should work? Because like then you're just throwing away all of my monetary systems. So that's silly to me. So I don't want to worry about that. As you said, the community has decided it's kind of this replacement for gold, store of money, and it does have some lasting power when it comes to investing and holding for a long time, which makes total sense. So those are kind of like the pros. It's like this stable store of value, despite the price volatility. The idea of it is very stable. I want to get into kind of some of the cons or the things that you think might not work about it. What are some of the arguments you've seen, not necessarily against like the creation and use of Bitcoin, but the purpose of holding, maybe a high percentage of your net worth in Bitcoin? What are some of the arguments you've seen for that you have considered or thought about?
I mean, the volatility is there. So it sucks if you put in a lot of money and then when it comes to time where you need to sell and you need to capitalize on that money that you've invested, it has gone down. Mm-hmm. That's obviously always a risk, but you can sort of mitigate that by never investing more than you can afford to lose. And that's one way that I approach it. I invest a very little bit at a time, mostly because I can't afford to do more than that. But doing so, I never feel like I'm operating at a loss because I could afford to allocate that little amount at a time. Other arguments against it are largely around the energy consumption, which is entirely bullshit because one, really energy is renewable. Two, the miners do use a lot of energy, but so do fucking refrigerators and computing. And
well, I want to also point out that I haven't seen any type of energy innovation in the way that I've seen it in Bitcoin mining. Like there are so many smart people who are working on funding capital intensive infrastructure and renewable energy projects by putting in Bitcoin mines. Like these people are rethinking power grids, are really thinking a lot about energy usage and consumption and storage in a way that, like, as you've pointed out, like the oil industry certainly isn't, the airline industry certainly isn't, major corporations certainly aren't. So like, the energy argument to me is just like a complete farce. Yeah. It does use a lot of energy. you also have truly the most innovation and the most smart people working on solving that problem. So like AI, you're welcome, because that's way more energy intensive, and it's going to rely on the power structures that people in Bitcoin are going to build. So
yeah, for what it's worth, also Bitcoin miners can shut down at any point if, for whatever reason, it is putting too much of a burden on the grid. For example, in Texas, that happened when there was like that major, I mean, there's been a ton of major heat waves, but recently there was a major heat wave and the miners were asked to shut down, and they were very easily able to do so to put that power back into air conditioners and other important stuff. But also another criticism against Bitcoin is the time that it takes to send a transaction. I mean, I personally have sent a relatively large amount of Bitcoin from one wallet to another, which
oh, she's wealthy.
Emphasize the term relative. But I was like shitting my pants for a little. My dog and I were praying, and my dog had no idea what was going on. So it was mostly me just praying that I had sent it, in fact, to the right address. I had to check it over and over again. And had that been a critical transaction that was time sensitive and had to be quick, I would have been fucked. But also just don't send very time sensitive transactions in Bitcoin. That's not necessarily what it's for.
So again, bank wire transfers aren't instant. So
exactly. People trying to use it for purposes other than what it operates best as, which is digital gold, can create the wrong perception of it.
The one like major con that I have with Bitcoin, because I know like from it so far, we both seem like huge fans, and I want to be clear that Larissa is a way bigger fan than me. The major con that I have with it is just that I find the community around it to be really toxic, and that makes me worry about kind of the direction that it's going. So I know I mentioned this in the first episode, but I've gone to the annual Bitcoin conference now 2 years in a row. Miami, I had an amazing time, met some incredible people. There was very non-serious people there as well. But Bitcoin Nashville this past year was honestly really tough. There was a lot of angry people in the crowd, a lot of conspiracy theorists, a lot of folks with just like really difficult rhetoric that I found hard to follow, hard to understand their motivations, a hatred for the way society is run in a way that I just hadn't experienced in real life and off Twitter. I almost fell in love with a QAnon truther. Like, it was a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And so the reason why that makes me nervous is because so much, like, these currencies are faith-based, as I mentioned. So much of the use of them, the adoption of them, the driving of them is centered on the community around them and growing it and making people comfortable with it and understanding it. I'm kind of worried that it's developing this reputation as like, you know, you're in your bunker with your Bitcoin and everyone's trying to kill you, and it's like very angry. And so that is, to me, is a huge barrier in actually getting it to be this widely recognized store of value that I think inherently, like, the tech is there, the use is there, all that stuff. It's there, but there's like this huge blocker to it for me in the community side.
That's interesting because I do not even factor the reputation in the US into it, because fuck the reputation. Like, I don't care what other people think of it. Like, I think it works. Yeah. And also, if you go to El Salvador, for example, it's literally changing people's lives. I mean, there are stories of women who have been able to build wealth for their family because they invested in Bitcoin and because it's been adopted as currency there. And also, I'm stuck on the QAnon truther that you maybe fell in love with.
I know. I was kind of trying to gloss over that. Anyways, he was a very kind person, but then we started talking about real things, and I was like, oh, we have very different opinions on the way the world works. Alrighty, Roo.
But
gotta go.
Do you think that you can date somebody who you have very different opinions from?
I would consider myself someone who's willing to hear anyone out. And the thing that I liked about this particular person is that he was very willing to be wrong. I do think that I often make the mistake of when people, like, there is a difference between being open-minded and needing to be proved wrong. So an open-minded person will like listen and consider and look at all perspectives and make a choice. A person who needs to be proven wrong often thinks that they're open-minded, like, oh, I'll just hear the evidence or whatever, you have to prove it to me. But that's not actually, like, that's automatically putting the other person in a defensive position to me. So the difficulty I found is people who will say, like, I'm willing to be wrong. I have trouble discerning, are they open-minded or are they trying to put me on a back foot of always being in a defensive position? And I don't mind the first one at all. Like, we can totally disagree. And I have disagreed with people that I've dated, and it's like not that serious. But if you're going to constantly be like, you need to prove me wrong instead of valuing my perspective, that's what I find difficult.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. The debate I had recently, and I'm still kind of having, as to whether things can really happen on purpose or if nothing happens on purpose because there's always a chance of it not happening. Why are you giving me that look? Okay.
Oh, no, it's not. I'm just thinking, I mean, I don't believe in free will. So we should talk about this.
And it's an ongoing debate because the guy that I was making this argument to is very adamant that I am wrong and is arguing that it's a fact that I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. And it's very annoying. But also we're not dating and never will. So
well, that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we can argue all day.
Yeah. But anyway, let's move on to Ethereum.
Wait, hold on. We have to swipe right or swipe left.
Oh.
But also, I do want to point out, to your point about like people building wealth on Bitcoin, that is what I love about it. And I do value that, which is why it kind of hurts me that the people with the loudest mic in the community right now and the loudest bullhorn are people who aren't telling those stories and who aren't valuing it like that. And they're also my other issue with maxis is that they won't allow anything else to develop. It's like you can only use Bitcoin for everything, Bitcoin for transaction. And it's like, no, guys, no. There is other ways to do other things. There can be multiple technologies. I don't want a centralized store of money either. The whole point is decentralization. Yeah. And so that's where it makes me nervous is first of all, not the right people telling the right stories. And secondly, not enough, again, willingness to be open to Bitcoin is maybe your savings account or your investment account, and you have a daily transaction account or something like that. Not being open to the possibility of using other coins for other purposes, other chains for other purposes. The Bitcoin or die next to it, where I'm that's just not gonna work for me.
Because Bitcoin does really have only one utility, which is store value, in my opinion.
I would agree
also
with that.
The truth.
We are gonna get roasted by the maxis for that. If this makes it to Bitcoin Maxi Twitter, we're gonna get fucked.
And I would love that because I think that being a maxi of anything is just another way of saying you have your head up your ass.
Ooh, that's a fun take,
right? You just do not see anything else.
Yeah. So maxis. Slide in our DMs.
You got your head up your asses.
Oh my God, yeah.
Anyway, now moving on to Ethereum.
Oh, wait. Swipe right, swipe left.
Oh, not even swipe right? Super
yeah. I was going to say, for all the cons and all the nervousness around it, it's a super for me.
Yeah, okay, good.
All right, moving on to Ethereum.
Yeah.
Our weird little basement dweller. That's how I think of Ethereum.
Our weird little basement
dweller.
Yeah,
if I could
gone mainstream.
If I could picture Bitcoin, I would picture some super buff CrossFitter in an American flag tank top. And if I could picture Ethereum, it would be Vitalik wearing the CryptoKitty shirt.
I would picture Ethereum as, a basement dweller who has since emerged and had a fucking great glow up and is now really fit, was the undermined nerd in...
You're pulling a she's all that. Ethereum is she's all that.
Yes. And is actually super useful, has its flaws. Yeah. But is a good starting point for DeFi. Maybe not, and definitely not the end all be all. But
wait, say more about that. DeFi, by the way, is decentralized finance. So it's rather than we talked about the ability to store value.
Yeah.
It's the ability to lend, to borrow, to save a little bit, although that's not as it's mostly lending and borrowing kind of stuff.
And gaming. Really any kind of app that you would want can be built on Ethereum. Mm-hmm. Every kind of app does not need to be built on Ethereum or on a blockchain in general. We can get into that another time. Ethereum is meant to be used as a decentralized computer. So things are meant to be built on top of it. Ethereum is not meant to be used as a currency either. More so something that operates as an operating fee for developers who are building on Ethereum. It was never meant to be used as a currency.
Mm-hmm. That makes total sense. And so what we're kind of talking about, to me, it's almost represented by the two axes on a graph. To me, Bitcoin is very much the y-axis up and down, one thing, store of value. Store of value, it goes so deep. It goes so deep on store of value. And then Ethereum is the x-axis, spread all the way across. It does everything you could want it to do. It is amazing, but it does not go deep at all. It's everything.
Yeah. Also, one thing I want to circle back on really quickly, which may have been in our previous episode, was that your friends at 18 convinced you to buy Bitcoin or were using Silk Road. And this conversation reminds me of that because when I was first learning about crypto, the founder of a company that I was working with and doing PR for, he was early 20s. But when he was 18, he bought Ethereum at $8 and very quickly became a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
And I...
At its peak, for reference, by the way, it was 8,000. So.
Yes. And I fell very quickly in lust with him. And it got me thinking about what the fuck was I doing at 18? Like, my friends were not convincing me to buy Bitcoin. They were convincing me to buy, like, one flavor of Franzia over the other.
Oh, my God.
And so...
You were wild. God, I was such a nerd. My mom used to, like, be like, Lindsay, you can't stay home on Friday nights. You have to stop reading books and go out.
Oh, my
no
God.
joke. No
I would
joke.
be gone for, like, a week at a time.
Beg me. What? Oh, my God. She would beg me. One time I showed up at midnight. My dad was like, why are you home? And I was like, it's my curfew. I'm not allowed to legally drive past midnight. And he said, oh, good for you.
So you obliged by the curfew that was imposed by the government instead of your parents? Also, what is a curfew?
I don't know. You didn't have one?
No, what?
City kids terrify me. This is why
I'm not
my
even
children...
a city kid.
Whatever you are now.
I can't believe I just admitted that to the world. But yeah, I'm not even a city kid. I'm a fucking burbs, product of the burbs, wanting to be a city kid.
Even scarier. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. Those are the wildest, right? Who have access to a city.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, okay. So Ethereum is like the do everything kind of network for me. So Bitcoin is like way more currency, crypto, like that. Ethereum is like the blockchain that like does everything. So are you swiping left or swiping right on Ethereum?
Left, maybe super like if...
Left is bad. Are you saying right?
Okay, right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Swipe
Whatever.
right.
Right. Yeah. This way.
The like button.
Maybe super like depending on the mood I'm in, but definitely right.
Swiping right on Ethereum, but Ethereum is like one of those we need to meet in person kind of swipes where I'm like, okay, like maybe it could work if you have like a fun personality. If when we meet, you're not like dry and boring, which I don't think Ethereum would be if we met in person. But the reason why it's not like a super like for me is simply because it's unfocused. Like Bitcoin, I can just like fully understand and grasp. Ethereum, it's like there's kind of too much. And that's where like when we talk about like getting people into crypto and all of that, like Ethereum is such a confusing place to start because it's like you can do anything and you're like, what's anything? And everyone's like, anything. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, that just is
unhelpful.
That's not. That's a nothing burger. So Ethereum for me is definitely a swipe right and see kind of swipe. It is so critical for the industry and led the way in so many things. But like the network itself, the community itself, I'm like a little bit more like, can I really get a handle on what's going on here?
Yeah.
No.
It's kind of hard to grasp if you try and grasp it as a whole, but when you're exposed to it in very specific contexts and understand the utility for it and why it works so well, it becomes a different story.
There is something for everyone on Ethereum, but you have to find it, and that's the issue.
Yeah, that's true. Let's move on to Tether,
Tether.
Yes.
Oh, I have strong opinions on Tether, actually.
Okay, well, I'll let you take this for the most part, but all I have to say is, like, to me, Tether comes off as the stablecoin that your parents warned you about. Like
I love that.
Yeah, like it's supposed to be very responsible and conservative and safe.
And it's actually so insidious.
But really it's a badass in a not good way.
It's insidious.
Okay, say more.
Like, quiet. Yes. Okay. So first we have to talk about stablecoins. Stablecoins are actually one of my favorite thing in cryptocurrency. So a stablecoin is a representation of a digital dollar. So it's like taking one regular dollar bill and tokenizing it on the blockchain to be worth $1 and then using that tokenized product to send and store value and all of that stuff. The reason why this is so powerful is because obviously exchanging physical dollars and even the way we currently exchange digital dollars on like the SWIFT network and credit cards and stuff is very slow. It's very laborious. There's lots of middlemen. Like when you swipe your credit card, there's actually an average of 4 different fees that are taken out of that transaction. Whereas with a stable coin, you can send it on a blockchain network. And well, also we should clarify too that Bitcoin and Ethereum are networks that also have native currencies. Tether is works on top of those, works through those networks. So it works on Bitcoin, it works on Ethereum, it works on Solana, it works on other networks too. So that's kind of like the difference there. It's a cross-chain tool. And so it's this cross-chain version of a digital dollar. The reason why that's so cool is because sending things cross-chain is instantaneous, has really low fees, there's no borders to it. I don't know if we have any Canadian homies out there, but every time I try to Venmo one of y'all, it's impossible because you don't have Venmo. Right. But what I can do is send you, if I need to send you $10, I can send you $10 over a network in Tether, which is a digital currency, a stable coin, and it'll be worth $10 when you get it. And there's very low transaction fees and there's no borders. And so stable coins have been so huge in so many ways to like opening up DeFi, opening up lending, allowing people to like send money around the world so much more easily. So stable coins are huge. I love stable coins. The way that they're supposed to work is that you have a group of investors or larger institutions that get together, they pool their resources, and they keep a huge amount of those resources in what's called cash and other highly liquid assets. And so those highly liquid assets are things like treasury bonds, very stable stores of value. So imagine we have a group of 10 people. Each of them gives $1 million because you and I apparently have super wealthy friends in this scenario. Good for us. And we take those $10 million, we mostly park it in, say, like a long-term savings account. We put, I don't know, $7 million in there, and then we put $3 million into short-term treasuries, which also, they maintain their value over time and have a very small kind of increase. And so we take that $10 million in value and we tokenize 10 million $1 coins. And we say, okay, like we're storing this 10 million, but here's all this digital version of this for everyone to send and save and store. And so in that way, it's kind of like a centralized bank or institution. Stable coins do have an element of centralization to them. The issue, or with it being fully dollar backed though, anyone can trade out their digital dollars at any time for real dollars. So that's kind of the promise and why those reserves are so important. Because say, for example, I send you $100 and then you want $100 cash to go buy whatever you want from the bodega around the corner, you can do that. You can go get $100 cash and the supply of that reserve drops by $100. Now that reserve's like being invested so it's constantly growing too and people are adding in and all that stuff. So anyways, that's what's happening. Reserves are critical. Like reserves are the backbone of stablecoins. Having transparent reserves
here comes
is the thing that is most important to stablecoins. What does Tether not have?
Transparent reserve?
That's right. That's right. Larissa, you nailed it. And so a while ago, I actually tweeted that I think that the next bear market's going to come when we all realize that Tether does not, in fact, have 100% of their coins backed up.
Was this in 2022 when you tweeted it?
No, I think it was more recently. It's like maybe past year.
Okay. Because what happened in 2022?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
When Tether depegged?
Oh, yeah. It was. Terra Luna crashed, Tether depegged. Yeah. Yeah, that was like, the start of the bear market and then FTX collapsed. It was 2020 and 2022. Super fun year for crypto.
Oh my God.
But anyways, so Tether did depeg. So what happens when it depegs is that the value of the digital dollar that's out in circulation that's supposed to always remain $1 drops below $1. And then at that point, your whole system comes crashing down.
Exactly.
So Tether didn't quite go that far. It very briefly depegged and it was able to recover. But the lack of transparent reserves, again, not knowing if that digital dollar is fully backed up by one whole dollar is very scary for the people that are using this.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, a ton of fucking people are using this.
Yeah.
It's got $100 billion market cap. It is by far the largest in the world. It makes a ton of money every day. It's not super popular in the US, but everywhere else in the world, Tether is widely used, like extremely, extraordinarily used in a way that, again, if it collapses, it will need to be bailed out. And so in that way, it's no better than a bank.
It depegged to, it dropped to 95 cents, which doesn't.
95? I thought it was 97.
It was 95 cents, yeah, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're holding millions of dollars.
Even if you're not holding like the whole market cap, $100 billion losing 5% of its value is a huge deal.
Yeah. And depegging sounds very technical, but
it sounds very sexual.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So like, think about it. I mean, this might be relatable. Probably not, I think, statistically, but like, imagine it like real pegging,
No,
But like,
don't go
but like
down
then
this
then the
road.
peg like depegs, and then you're just fucked in a bad way
Yeah.
with something stuck up your ass, and you gotta like go to the hospital.
My father can never listen
And
to
worse.
this. No family members can listen
Oh
to
Jesus,
this.
fuck no! I'm gonna tell my family like if you listen to this, I'm estranged.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you're just fucked indefinitely
Yeah.
and need a solution. What is that solution? Do you go to the hospital?
Yeah.
What else can you do?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if anything happens to Tether, it's going to have to be bailed out. So it's truly no better than any centralized currency. Without transparent reserves, there's no point. There's no, like, you lose the whole point of all of this.
Yeah.
And so I am a super duper triple extra like on stablecoins if they have transparent reserves. So shout out to USDC. I love you so much. We're not sponsored, but if you would like
Okay,
to,
Jeremy Allaire.
if you would like to sponsor us, please let me know.
Sponsored by USDC.
Sponsored by USDC.
In the future.
In the future, yeah. You can pay us on it, it's fine. But anyways, and I am a hard no, like block.
Yeah. Block and report.
Report, it's spam. Which speaking of, actually, I know I told you this, but I did get kicked off I got permabanned from a dating app because I work in crypto in my bio. And
We are still so early.
No, I think a bunch of people thought I was a bot.
They must have. They must have. Or we're super sexist and like a woman can't work in crypto.
I think it was the bot thing, if we're being honest.
Yeah, no, true.
My hobbies are crypto and taking a day trading course. So, like, I am primed to be one of those fake Instagram accounts.
That is so true. Yeah, you're way too pretty for any normal guy to think that you're in crypto or trading.
God. But yeah, so it's a hard swipe left on Tether.
Okay. So
Swipe
what's
left, block
next
report.
market cap wise?
Wait, hold on.
Oh, okay.
Are you swiping left on Tether?
No. Yes.
I
I
need like a sign that has right and left. Left is no.
Left is no. Yeah. Yeah. No. Fuck no. I'm not even glancing at their pictures or their job, which is the order that actually it's like job then pictures, which is the order that I go in when I'm deciding whether to swipe. But no. Fuck no. Left, block, report. Make fun of it to my friends.
Yeah, screenshot it for sure.
Oh God, yeah. Put it on Twitter maybe and be like, "Who the fuck is this?" Get 3 views.
Yeah.
And still, they know I hate them.
Get 3 views.
It's true. I'm maxing out at like 9.
Woof. I didn't even know that's possible. You have more followers than me. Anyways, it's a hard knock life out here. Next up is Solana. Oh my God. How would you personify Solana?
The guy that's trying so fucking hard to be cool, and it's just like, stop.
Okay. I could get down with that. I was thinking like, wears tie-dye, smells a little bit, really interested in van life. Maybe conceptually, but not like...
What is fan life? Like being a fan?
Van.
Van. Oh.
Like living in a van.
Real. I see Solana in like some very cool like kicks, some like Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, whatever is a cool hat brand. And like trying so hard to fit in with the cool kids, but is like sitting in the outer circle perpetually.
I get what you're saying.
Why?
I definitely see it as like a little weird hippie chain.
Okay, why the hippie part?
Mostly like the like counterculture-y thing more than like a hippie. Like, we're not like everyone else. We're cooler. And you're like, but are you?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Either way, they're trying to be cool.
Right, yeah. Yeah, the definitely like fake counterculture thing. Like posers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why does Solana exist?
Oh my God, good question. I don't know, because it started in 2021.
Yeah.
And I actually don't remember. I mean, I remember Helium as an early project, but do you know how it became incepted? I don't know.
I think it was supposed to be like an iteration of Ethereum, but better. Maybe it's quicker, cheaper, whatever. But either way, just stop.
Oh, this was before L2s, which we're not going to get into. Sorry, that was a technical digression.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, you're right. So yeah, you're right, actually. You're totally right. It started as a way because Ethereum was kind of laborious transactions and very expensive.
Yeah, and gas fees were getting so high.
Yeah. But gas fees, by the way, are the fees used to make a transaction.
Most often you'll hear complaints about Ethereum's gas fees because that's the go-to network if you're starting out.
For dApps.
Yeah.
So
decentralized application building. And there are some projects built on, a lot of projects built on Solana. Belugis was built on Solana. the
Oh, that's
11-year-old
funny.
who was on Dr. Phil with me and is a multi-trillionaire.
So unaccomplished.
Fuck belugies.
Yeah, I know.
That's all I gotta say.
Fuck them unless I was wealthy off them, and then they would be the greatest thing ever. But since I'm not.
Yeah.
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 No,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
right. Solana came into existence because of that. Solana, so the cool thing about Solana is it has actually built up a very warm and welcoming culture. So like I know I talked a lot about that with Bitcoin. The Solana ecosystem is like very creative, very artistic. Like when I truly picture it, I think of like these like blooms of color and like psychedelic. Like Solana is a fun place to be. A lot of people are building on it and it's a very, very warm community. And so they really have that going. Also, they make like incredible like ads and stuff. Their
Mhm.
annual conference is known for being really fun, which in the crypto world, having a good annual conference is actually
It's everything.
super important.
Yeah.
Sorry, industry is so unserious. But yeah, so Solana, like I was gonna say, I'm starting with the pros for sure. The pros are like this warm, inviting ecosystem, great support for devs, a lot of like color and fun there.
The only thing I can say good about Solana is their gradient in their logo. It's like that green, purple, and then from there, just put a period on it.
Yeah, so you do the cons. I did the like warm, fuzzy part. What don't you like?
The fact that it doesn't need to exist. I mean, it like, okay, yeah, quicker, cheaper, maybe, but I guess I'm too used to L2s now.
Okay.
So
Which I was going to say, we can,
yeah,
as a brief overview, L2s are basically layers built on top of Ethereum that solve the high gas fee, slow transaction problem. So we're not going to get into the technicalities of that, but just know that they're kind of like Ethereum based and they jump off from that. And there are several of them.
yeah. If we have any Solana listeners, Solana maxis, which I don't even know if they exist.
They totally exist.
And
We're
that
gonna get more DMs about this in the Bitcoin maxis because like our corner of the internet has more Solana people. For
I would
sure.
say that would also require us to have listeners, which I'm not
I
sure if we
know.
will. So like you're expecting all these people to be in our DMs with hate comments, but like
I'm gonna be so excited
I
if we
would
get a
love
bunch of
that.
hateful
yeah,
DMs.
because that would be great to have that.
No, we're in an all press is good
loyal
press
listeners.
phase.
Yeah.
If you attack me, I probably like my feelings will be hurt, but I'll also be so proud of myself.
My feelings will not even be hurt, please.
I don't. Yeah,
come,
I feel like
come
you're,
at me. I would love
I'm
it.
a little bit more sensitive for
and
sure.
I will definitely post it in my Instagram story.
Yeah, you do. This bitch loves to post a private DM.
I do.
God damn it.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm swiping left, although I will evaluate their profile in that I will look at all their pictures and read the prompts that they answer to and be like,
Ooh,
ugh,
that's a good call.
and then swipe left.
I actually like. Okay, I'm definitely reading their whole profile, and I'm like spending a couple minutes on it. Like, is this a yes or no?
A couple minutes. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
well, I don't know. Maybe it's like a
Couple
45
seconds.
seconds.
Yeah.
Like it's like a deeper dive though.
Yeah.
Like I'm scrolling, I'm looking up and down, whatever. I'm probably gonna swipe right and then never respond to them. That's
Mhm.
probably what I'm
One of
gonna
those.
do. Yeah, where you're like, maybe theoretically, and then you swipe right and they message you and you're like, I don't want to put any effort into this
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. I heard that they are banning people who do that now. I don't know if
Yeah.
it was Bumble or Hinge, but I read, and not sure if it's true, that they are deleting accounts that match with
swipe
people
right
and then do
don't
not
answer.
respond to them. AKA, I'm no longer going to have an account because that's my entire life. I
Shit.
love the dopamine hit of matching with somebody, but then
Yeah.
when they actually message me, I'm like,
Ooh,
I'm bored.
scary. Yeah.
I'm bored. Not scary. I'm just like, now that I know
Scary.
that you're interested, I'm not.
Yeah.
Which
The chase
maybe
is-
is something to
the
unpack another
chase is
time.
over.
Yeah.
No, I think like I'm gonna give Solana like a chance. Like maybe I don't know. Like we'll see what happens with Solana.
Okay. So what the fuck do we think about BNB?
I don't know. You need to walk me through BNB.
So basically it exists to use the Binance exchange.
Well, actually, first, can you talk about? I know we mentioned this at the beginning, but I want to point out that these are the top 5 coins by market cap. So I was surprised to see, I don't know if surprised is the right word. I was intrigued to see BNB on the list because BNB is not a token. I actually held some of it, but it's not a token I interact with much.
Do you use Binance?
I did.
At the risk of incriminating yourself right now?
No, it was like years ago when I was working on I got paid in a project token that was based in Binance. And so I bought like a little bit of BNB and
Okay.
this, I honestly don't know if I could even get into the account anymore. But yeah, so I'm not super familiar with Binance beyond all of the criminal prosecutions. So walk me through a little bit of BNB, what it's used for, what it's about.
Yeah, so I don't really know much about it either.
Perfect. Love that I tossed this to you.
Aside from that, it's the fifth largest by market cap, but also like has no point. I mean, the point is to use Binance as an exchange, but also doesn't need to exist because an exchange is a place where you go to buy cryptos, and it's offering thousands of them. So it easily could have been using one of the best ones, or probably a stable coin would be the best case for an exchange where you're buying and operating on the platform. So it's used for trading and DeFi.
Is it a gas fee? Like, do you have to have?
Yeah, essentially it's a
BNB?
gas fee.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
But also it's volatile. Like people trade it.
Actually, that's true because this fifth spot in market cap also regularly goes up and down. Like it
Right.
regularly switches out.
Yeah.
And BNB is one that I've seen drop off and come on several times.
Yeah. Not saying they're wash trading or anything, but what is wash trading, Lindsay? Now that you're taking this trading course?
Okay, I'm like a week in. Let's relax on Lindsay's trading knowledge, okay?
Yeah, also only episode 2.
Google what an iron condor was today.
Give us a second while we Google it for next episode.
Yeah. So, it's interesting to me that BNB does have such high. Also, yeah, Binance has dealt with several criminal prosecution in its time, especially for an exchange. So, not great.
Is CZ, their founder, still in jail, or did he get out?
I think he's out. I honestly don't know.
We can do a whole episode on crypto bad boys and girls.
yeah, we
AKA
tell women's stories.
Fucking inclusive here. Yeah. But yeah, we can go deep on, not even deep, just extensive in breadth of cases, criminal cases in crypto.
Yeah. All right. So anyways, BNB, swipe left or swipe right?
Left.
Yeah, left. I don't really get it. I don't know it and I don't want to.
Yeah. See their first picture, maybe glance at their job. But either way, I'm swiping left.
Yeah, no, I like Tether. I at least would look through. I would look through and then report because I would be so concerned.
Yeah.
This is like not
it's
even
like
worth.
It's like the guy who has like guns in his picture.
Yeah, and you're like, what's happening
and
here?
wants to be a rapper.
Yeah.
That has no shot.
Yeah.
Tether, not BNB.
Or like, I was thinking like guns and like out in the country. It's funny where you went.
Country?
I don't know.
But don't you like the country?
I love the country. Anyways.
So you want to like Tether, but yeah, of course, because
I do want to like Tether because it's a stable coin.
Checks out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in conclusion, hard right on Bitcoin, soft right on Ethereum ish.
Mine's a definite right, but am I gonna super like or not is the question.
Gotcha. I'm more on the yes side of Solana. You're more on the no side, but we're both like,
I'm swiping left.
Yeah, but we're in the center-ish territory there, because you said you would look at the profile.
Yeah.
Center-ish territory. You're on the no side. I'm on the yes side.
Which, how sad is it that is being the center-ish in dating apps? That just looking at their profile means that they almost have a shot.
Right. Oh my god. Anyways. Tether is a block report spam.
Yes.
Binance or BNB is like,
no.
We literally spent no time on it because it's so uninteresting and dumb.
Yeah. Like I'm not even looking at their profile. Not even like if I see more than their first picture, I'm upset.
Oh my god, do you think there's gonna be BNB maxis out there?
I hope so. Maybe we should send this episode to CZ, their founder, but I don't think he would even care because he'd be like, haha, yeah,
or I
created BNB for fucking nothing and now people are buying it.
Yeah, exactly. So we are, of the top 5, we actually listed them in almost like liking order a little bit.
That's true. And perhaps it's for a good reason because...
That also makes us kind of basic bitches. Oh, we like the most popular ones. Well, yeah, we all do.
But we did not evaluate all of the coins and tokens that exist, only the top 5 biggest ones.
Right. Yeah. And there are a ton more. And there's other ones that I do love.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's enough for today.
It is more than enough, probably.
I know. Thank you to our 3 listeners for doing that.
Okay, 3 is rounding up.
Well, me and you are 2.
Like, subscribe,
Matt,
follow.
our producer's a 3rd.
Like, subscribe, follow.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Seeking Alpha Pod. I'm at Lindsay Poss on Twitter. Larissa is at
Larissa Bunziak.
Good luck spelling that. Check the show notes.
Yeah.
For both of us, by the way. I'm Lindsay with an A. Send the pod to a friend. Leave a rating and review. It helps us add to our 3 listener count.
Yeah. And hopefully get sponsored by USDC because that is
and
Lindsay's target.
We are chasing the USDC sponsorship. And send us all your DMs. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your hate, Larissa, more than me.
Yeah. Oh, I welcome the hate. I would love it. I will keep it in a scrapbook.
I'm weak. Yeah, I'm weak. But yeah, thank you all.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.